Hi, I'm Paige Lambermont, a Policy Associate at the Institute for Energy Research. Let's talk about net metering. Net metering policies, which have gained popularity in recent years, externalize the cost of small distributed electricity generation onto the rest of the grid. This is most relevant in the case of small rooftop solar generation, which accounted for 97% of the generating capacity participating in net metering in 2018. Under most net metering rules, utilities are forced to buy excess power generated by small rooftop solar arrays at their full retail rate of compensation, that is, what they usually charge customers for a kilowatt hour of electricity, and they must then incorporate this into the wider grid. Customers with their own rooftop solar arrays sell their excess electricity back to the grid at the utility's regular per kilowatt hour rate. Unfortunately, most of their production happens off-peak demand, while their consumption is more likely to occur during peak demand. So this policy requires utilities to buy electricity when they don't need it, and while failing to help meet peak demand. Electricity has to be produced and used in tandem. There isn't sufficient storage capacity at this kind of scale for it to be stored and used later. This leads to something called the duck curve, where during the middle of the day, when solar is performing at its best, but demand is at its lowest, there is a risk of overgeneration. And then, very suddenly, in the early evening, the curve reverses as solar goes offline and demand rises dramatically, forcing steep ramping from the rest of the grid. First of all, they impose wear and tear on nuclear, natural gas, and coal plants, which are forced to cycle up and down more quickly than they are designed for in order to accommodate distributed solar, which the utilities are forced to accept. Additionally, solar customers who receive full retail credits for their excess power are also not paying for their share of grid maintenance, or the metering and billing systems that their provider uses. Other customers of their utility are effectively subsidizing these users. What makes this worse is that net metering customers have tended to be higher income households, meaning that this policy results in the de facto subsidy of more wealthy net metering customers by other less wealthy customers of their utility. That's the big question with these policies. Should utilities be forced to buy power that they do not want or need, and which is not economical for them to use? If utilities were not required to buy this power, would it still be produced? Would energy customers choose to install rooftop solar arrays without this de facto subsidy? These are the important questions regarding net metering. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, net metering in the U.S. quadrupled between 2013 and 2018. At the end of 2019, 45 states had some amount of net metering or similar compensation structure in place. The state with the most net metering is Hawaii, where 15% of energy customers participate in the program. Although on its face net metering may seem like a reasonable way to compensate rooftop solar owners for their power, it fails to take into account whether that power is needed when it is generated, as well as its outsized negative impact on the grid. Thank you for watching. For more information on net metering and other energy topics, please visit instituteforenergyresearch.org.